What's up? I'm Chris. That's my 2005 E46 BMW. Today, I'm going to be changing fuel injectors. Yesterday I changed the fuel pump on this car and it was original to the car. I'm sure the injectors are original also. I'm not doing this for any real reason. There's no lights on the car runs fine. I'm just hoping maybe I'll free up a little lost horsepower by cleaning up stuff. I know the injectors could be cleaned, but why not just change them anyway? So I'm going to change them. I'm going to show you how. The first thing I'm going to do is pull a fuse from my fuel pump. That is right there. It's number 54. 54 is up here. It's going to be a 20 amp fuse. 30, 20, 15, 30. Go down to my glove box. I already got my fuses open right here. They fold up in case you didn't know where your fuses were. And I'm going to pull fuse number 20 or number 54. And that's pulled. Now with that pulled, I'm going to start my car. And I'm going to let the car die. There, the car died. That's because my fuse... All the fuel should be out of the system now. Well, not all of it, but enough of it. See, that's not staying started because my fuel pump ain't working. Take the key out. So with the fuse pulled, now I got to remove the cabin air filter, which is simple. And just undo these three. I got some T30s holding it together back there. I'm going to have to get the wire out of the way. I got to get my strut brace out of the way. The engine cover's got to come off. They're held on by 10 millimeters. That's why I got to get this out of the way so I can reach that. I've showed you that before in another video on changing the coils and the ignitions, the coils and the spark plugs. So let me get that out of the way. Boom, magic. Now I got to get, there's my fuel rail. I got to get all these oxygen sensors off of here. Get them out of the way. Just lay them to the side. After the O2 sensors are pushed to the side, come down here and remove this. There, that's off. That's connected right here. Get that out of the way. Then you have to move this piece out of the way. That's your, I forget what it's exactly called, but that's your fuel injectors are in there. They're attached to there. There's little spring clips that hold it on. And the best way to get it is just kind of get in there with a screwdriver and pry it off all the way down. Try not to break this, but pry it off all the way down, and I'm going to put y'all down while I take that piece off. So I got the harness for the fuel injectors out of the way. I found the best way to do that is to take a screwdriver and pry it off, but your CCV hose is in the way mostly, so I kind of removed that. That's out of the way now. So that's how I got that off. And the next step is to take those 10 millimeter bolts off. There are 10 millimeter bolts holding the fuel rail down. So that's what I'm doing next. Now I got the 4 10 millimeter bolts out. The fuel line is connected back here. You can't see it. I'm trying to point it out to y'all, but the fuel rail is connected and it goes under here. And there's a clip. You can pull it apart, but my hands are kind of big. I can't really get there. I'm going to try and just pry this up and see what happens. That's the next step. Well, the next step is disconnect the fuel rail if you can. I'm going to attempt to just pry it up. And it might be a little difficult to pry it up, but that's how you get this out. You might need 2 hands, but you just pry this out of there. The O-rings are probably holding it together since it's all original. And that'll get the fuel rail lifted. So let's see if I could do that without disconnecting the line in the back. I got the fuel rail up and there's the fuel injectors. My screwdriver did not give me the leverage I needed to pry that up, so I actually used the pry bar. But with the fuel rail up now, there's the fuel injectors. To get them out, you just take this clip off. I don't want to drop the clip. But you get that clip off with a screwdriver. I have nowhere to set y'all down and work on this. Look, it's coming off. There we go. Take a screwdriver and pry that out the way, and then you should be able to slide this right out. Oh shit, I just cursed online. But there's the fuel injector, and that's how you get them off. Try that again and aim y'all a little better. Pry this clip. Take it off. And just pull down on the injector. It just snaps in there, kind of twisting it out. And there it goes. And there's a little fuel pouring out of there, so yeah, you stick a rag underneath there or something. But the fuel injector is out. It's probably a red. That is dirty. Oh, I'm aiming the wrong directions. Y'all can't see that, it's blurry, but that thing is dirty. So I'm going to replace them all. I'm going to use two hands to take the rest of the clips off and pull the injectors out. So I got all the fuel injectors out. I had to put a light in here so I could see the one in the back. I did not have to release the rail. Just lift up on it. A lot of gas poured out as I was taking each injector out, so put a rag down to catch the gas. But I got all the injectors out. Look how dirty some of them are. Like this one here is filthy. If it focuses on them, look how dirty they are. But just pry the clip off with a screwdriver, and then you're able to pull these straight out of the fuel rail. Look at my new injector though. I went online and looked, and it says this is the right ones for it, and they had both kinds. I don't know what the difference between the fat one and the skinny one is. I don't know if there's any way to tell which you have until you take them apart. But this is the same as this down here, and the top is the same. The connections are all the same, and it fits in the hole. I went and looked online and all, and it says I got the right stuff. You can see how different they are. But I'm going to go ahead and try it out. I'm going to put them in. Put them in. It's just going to be the same way you took them out. I'm just going to stab them into the rail. I'm going to do it with two hands, but I'm just going to stab it into the rail and then put the clip back around to hold the fuel injector on, and then push it back down. So I got all the new injectors on. I try and film as much as I can, but sometimes I need two hands and there's just no place for me to set the camera for y'all to see what I'm doing. Plus some of it's not entertaining or anything. Y'all don't want to watch me undo nuts and bolts constantly. But the injectors are back on, the clips are on. These things coming with new clips would have been really nice. Now I got to take the injectors, line them up, and push them into the 6 holes. Setting that down. I'm probably going to need two hands to guide it into the right place, but that's what I'm doing next. The fuel rail's pushed into place. Now I'm going to put the 10mm bolts back in, and that'll push everything down nice and tight. Just 4 10mm bolts in there. Fuel rail is bolted down. I got a bunch of lights in here, but this is the best I could do. I know it's kind of dark for y'all to see on camera, but these clips from the fuel injector wiring harness, they just line right back up. And once you get them lined up, you just push down on it and it's going to snap right into place. So that's what you do next. So I accidentally hit a button on the camera that made it start recording without sound, but I was done with it anyway. I was putting everything back together. So after your O2 sensors are clipped back in, your fuel rail wiring harness is pushed together. That's what I was doing. It just snaps into place. You'll hear it clicking when it goes in. Don't forget the electrical connector in the front right here. Plug that back in. Put your fuse back in for your fuel pump. And with all that done, I started the car. And it's going to take a few tries to get the car to start because you didn't have fuel pump into it for a little bit. So car got started. I let it run for about 15-20 minutes and just kept an eye on the fuel injectors, make sure nothing was leaking, make sure I didn't start a fire or anything. Kept an eye on it. It ran for about 15-20 minutes. After that was done, I put the engine covers back on, the cabin air filter, the strut brace. I put everything back together, I took the car out for a ride and everything runs smooth. That's how you change the fuel injectors. I've been having E46s for 11 years now, 3 of them, and I've done quite a bit to the cars. This one, only things I've done to it has been preventative maintenance. This one's been a charm, and nothing's ever broke on this car, but the other ones have broken a few times, and I've done a lot of stuff. So anything y'all'd like to see, let me know. Maybe I could make a video on that. Something quick. I like these videos to be quick and just straight to the point. So let me know if there's something y'all want to see.